Yeah, students, I hope you are doing well and convey my regards to your parents and our family members. Here I am to take a class 8 science. And in this class, we are going to study the first chapter, first lesson, that is crop production, management and animal husbandry. Before starting this chapter, I just want to give the importance of this particular chapter, why it should be a part of curriculum, why every student should learn this chapter. Students, human being, people of any profession, any nature, any background, we know that food is a basic need. We all need food for our survival. And have you ever thought that where does this food come from? How do we get this food stuff? The only ultimate source for our all source of food is farming, agricultural field. This is why the chapter is very important, that we must know how do we get this food. Here, about this chapter, all the important points, topics I have listed on the board, and we will study each topic's detail. And there are certain things which are not been included in this chapter, but it is also a part of this chapter, but it is not found in your book. Those topics also I have included. So the important points, that is the first one, the contents of the lesson. First, explanation of the heading. The chapter's heading is crop production, management and animal husbandry. Each word we will study detailed. That's the introduction, explanation of the heading. And the second point, concept of farming or agriculture. What does it mean? Farming means. What is it meant for? Concept that what is agriculture, yeah, farming, how this thing is practiced, that what we are going to study in this chapter. And the third point, the types of crops that's grown in India. We are growing, farmers growing different types of crops based on the climate, based on the environment, based on the soil availability. According to that, different types of crops are grown in India, and we will study the types of crops grown. And the last important point of this chapter is nitrogen cycle. We know that the atmospheric nitrogen undergoes various changes through biotic, abiotic, plants and animals, and again it comes back into the same stage of atmospheric nitrogen. So these different conversions, changes that happening to the nitrogen, that is also included as a part of this chapter, that's called a nitrogen cycle. Yes, students. Now let's go back to the first point, that's the heading of the chapter, explanation of the heading. So here I am going to explain each word with its meaning. What does it mean by? Like that. So listen, crop. Here, crop means various yields like grains, cereals, pulses, fruits, vegetables, etc. grown in a farmland in different time, in different way. These different products that are grown in a farmland by a farmer, that is what are meant by crops. So we will study what are the types of crops in this chapter. And second word of the heading, production, crop production. Here, production means the different methods used to produce these crops. That is what a production means, how they are produced. And the third word, management. Management here means the many ways that we use to store, preserve and distribute these products of the farm. Yeah, these crops, how we manage to store, how we manage to preserve, and how we manage to distribute to the different needy people. So once it is produced in a way, in a place, it is consumed in another place. So this production is not quite enough. The proper management should be done in order to distribute the products so that it must reach the hands where it is needed. So this way, without spoiling its value, without spoiling its quality, that's what we're preserving. So we store it, we preserve it, and we distribute it to the public, to the people where it is needed. This is what management means. And the last part of this heading is animal husbandry. Animal husbandry, it means the method of rearing or growing animals and animals products for food and other needs of the man. We use not only farm products, we use not only the agricultural products, we use many products of animals, like flesh, meat, skin, milk products, egg, fish, whatever it is, we use as our food and other purpose. Those things are how they are reared, how they are grown, how they are produced, and their animal products, how this thing is done. This total branch of science, total branch of agriculture, total branch of farming, that is called animal husbandry. The methods that is used for rearing, growing animals and animal products for our food and other needs. This particular procedure is called animal husbandry. Yes, students. Let us go back to the second point of the chapter, that is the concept of farming, agriculture. It's a broad understanding. When we think about farming, there are 2 points we have to consider. The concept of farming includes 2 points. First thing, agricultural practices. What is agricultural practices? Farmers conduct various activities related to farm, to grow, to the crops in their field. These all way different steps they are doing in order to produce the crops. That particular practices, the activities are called agricultural practices. Cultivating of crops. This is what the first concept we should understand about farming. They conduct various steps, various activities in order to produce their crops. This is what agricultural practices. And the second concept of farming is breeding and raising of livestock. That's called animal husbandry. Farming does not include only the agricultural products, it also includes growing, raising or rearing of animals and animal products. That particular thing is called animal husbandry. So these are the 2 concepts we should understand when we think about farming. The products, the activities that farmers do either on their agricultural land or in a farm of animals. These 2 things come under agricultural farming. So now let us study detail about the concepts of, practices of agriculture. Some agricultural practices. So first, there are many different 10 points, 10 different steps that farmers conduct in order to grow crops. So we will study one by one what is that. So the various agricultural practices that farmers conduct are listed in 10 headings. So among them, the first one is preparation of soil. What is preparation of soil? Before planting a crop, farmers have to make the soil prepared in order to grow the plant. For that, there are mainly 2 things they are doing. First thing, plowing the field, drilling the field. What is that? You might have seen that farmers using bullocks and using a plow, they are plowing out, they are drilling out the land. It is because to make the soil loose, to turn the soil so that it will get enough moisture, air and softness so that the crops can grow easily. It will help the crops to grow their roots through the soil to penetrate. To grow through the loose soil, the plants can easily grow. So that is why preparation of soil includes two works. First is plowing or tilling, and leveling is the next one. Leveling means the farmland, the soil should be made in that proportion so that water holding capacity will be there, and the manures and fertilizers should not be washed away. So the level of the ground, the land must be equalized. That procedure is called leveling. So for this all, there are many methods. Traditional methods are there, local methods are there, and nowadays modern machineries like tractors, plowers and tillers are used. So the different devices, machines, whatever the method they are using for the purpose of preparing the soil. That is what soil preparation. So before planting, a soil should be prepared in that correct way so that the crop, the field must be ready to grow the crops. Yes, students. The second practice that farmers conduct for agricultural practice is selection and sowing of seeds. Selection and sowing of seeds. Selection means before planting a crop, farmers have to select seeds of good quality, healthy seeds, and which has got an ability to tolerate the different conditions of the soil. So according to the quality of the soil, good seeds, healthy seeds are selected. So that procedure is called a selection of seeds. And sowing of seeds means the different methods that they use to plant the seed, like broadcasting, transplanting, or dispersing the seeds, like that. Different methods they are using. You may have seen that when people plant corn, they put it in a particular way. So this type of different method they are using in order to plant a seed, that is called sowing. So selection and sowing of seeds is the second practice that farmers conduct for practice as a crop. Yes, student. The third point practice that they conduct for farming is manuring. What is manuring? In order to increase the quality of the soil for the good growth of the crops, farmers time to time add many organic manures, chemical fertilizers to the soil in time to time in a rotation. This particular procedure is called manuring. So manuring helps the plants to grow healthy. It maintains the quality, fertility of the soil so that the yield will grow better. The next practice of farming is irrigation. What does irrigation means? The process of arranging water to the field by different means. That is what called irrigation. There are two normal methods they are using. Traditional methods. So local people have got their own traditional method for giving water, like boring and all. They use a channel irrigation like. And modern methods like sprinkling or drop irrigation like systems are also used for irrigating the field. Irrigation helps the plants to get an adequate amount of water for the better growth. The next step that farmers use is weeding. It's a very important work for the farmers because it is a procedure of removing or spoiling unwanted plants' growth in the crop. Then along with the crop, some other weeds, plants also grow up. So they time to time they remove it either by plucking or by dropping some chemicals. Any which way they remove the unwanted growth of the plants in the crop. This is what called weeding. Next is protection of crops. Protection of crops means the crops have got many enemies like they spoil, like insects or animals. even other birds like that, or they spoil the crops. So farmers have to adopt different methods in order to protect these crops. Sometimes fungus attack or bacteria attack the crops. So they use insecticides or pesticides in order to kill or spoil the enemies of the crop, to protect it from those things, spoilage. So this is also a very important practice that farmers do to preserve their crops. Yeah, let us see the next point, that is harvesting. Harvesting is a procedure of collecting ripened crops from the farm. So that farmers use different methods like plucking, cutting, or breaking of the fruit. Like that, different methods they are practicing in order to get the final crops from their field. This is what called harvesting. Next is threshing. Threshing is the procedure of breaking up the unwanted, not useful parts of the crop, like a husk or chaff from the grains, seed covers of the seeds, what we are moving, what we are breaking out to get the final seeds, crop. That is what called threshing. And next one is winnowing. Winnowing is the procedure of removing of any remaining parts which is not at all useful, which is not at all needed from the crops. Like that, any method we are using. For that, wind is used, some windmills are used, so with the help of the moving air we are using, farmers use. They separate all the unwanted remains from the crops. That is what is called winnowing. And last is storage. The final crop should be stored in a proper way so that it should not be spoiled. This method of storing crops is called storage. Farmers use different methods for drying and storing, keeping in cold storages. Different methods like that they use in order to store the crops so that its quality will not be lost, it will not be spoiled, it will not be decayed. So that it can be kept in a very proper way that it can be used, the crop can be used later. This method is called what? Storage. This is about, these are the different practices of farming related things that farmers practice. The 10 points we have discussed. Yes, students. Here I am to explain the second concept of farming agriculture. The second concept of farming agriculture is breeding and raising of livestock. This entire procedure is called animal husbandry. In that, the following things are practiced. First, rearing of animals for milk or milk products, meat and skin. For this purpose, different animals like cow, goat, sheep or many such animals are grown for this, for the availability of all these milk or milk products or meat or skin. Second is poultry farm for meat and egg. For that, hen, ducks and geese are grown and we use the meat and egg of all these birds. This is called poultry farming. And third is fishery. Fishery is a procedure of growing fish for food purpose in a bulk area, in a large area, in a bulk amount. So this is what is called fisheries. And next is beekeeping. Beekeeping is a process of growing honeybee for the purpose of honey. So we get honey from beekeeping farming. And last is pet animals. Pet animals means we have a great pleasure of keeping some pet animals at home. And these pet animals come from such type of farms. Many people grow pet animals in a farm and they sell it out. So we get these pet animals from their farm. So these are the next concepts that includes in breeding and raising of livestock. This is the second concept of agriculture and farming.